GM, and welcome to our third episode. That's crazy already. Three episodes of the Hub, a Farcaster focused developer podcast. I'm really excited to be joined here today with Adrian, GM Adrian.
GM Dill, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're doing good.
Nice. We're here through everyone building at DevCon or socializing. We're here through the bull run, just focused on developer news and content. But what an exciting time right now, for sure.
It's insanity. I woke up, I opened up the feed and just like almost died of FOMO because today was the day where all of our Farcaster friends started posting pictures of themselves at the Farcaster booth at DevCon, and it's devastating we're not there.
Yeah, I know. I have one of the notes I have is the picture of the venue where they're doing the Farcaster meetup, and it looks like a really cool spot. So FOMOing right there with you for sure.
Did you see the picture of Ted talking to Vitalik?
No, what? I didn't see that. We're gonna have to show that today on the. That's
I'll
crazy.
tell you, Robin, if you go to Robin's feed and he has a Mashi Cam photo of
Okay,
Ted talking to Vitalik with the caption um, about here, you can pull it up.
let's do
Something
it. Yeah.
about, yeah,
Oh wow. Ted onboarding new users to Farcaster. Hope this dude signs up. That's pretty funny.
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Dang. That's a good way to start the show off. Nice. I did see like some other panels, but that's pretty top notch. Just at the booth, you see Sam there in the background, Sam
There
Huber.
he is.
Yeah.
Guest, first guest co-host on the Hub, episode 1.
Yes, exactly. Very full circle there. But yes, as we mentioned, super exciting week on Farcaster and in crypto. If you've been living under a rock, just madness that's going on right now, totally not related to anything else going on in the world whatsoever. Um,
Totally. It's just
yeah,
random.
exactly. Yeah. Dan launched something new, and then markets go up. That's
Yeah.
how it goes around here. But one exciting thing that I did want to start the show off, which is very emblematic of the banner I made here, is this cast from Martin that went viral. That's something crazy that happened this weekend, where Aethernet, Martin's bot, spoke to Clanker from Proxy Studios, I believe, and made a token. I believe multiple tokens actually. And then Dan ended up screenshotting this, and the tweet for this went pretty viral and got like a 250,000 views or something like that. And we had saw before on either the last or the first show, Aethernet talking to different bots, like using the PayFlow bot to pay people. But this in particular is cool, and people reacted to this. People bought these tokens, and so there is a phenomenon there where I think at first people were thinking, oh, how can I just get my bot to do something on chain or interact with people on Farcaster? But if I'm not mistaken, it seems like right now the meta might start to be, how can I like really make money off of this, you know?
I guess. I have you yeah, have you been did you play with Clanker at all over the weekend?
I actually didn't, because by the time I was looking at it, they were shutting it down for maintenance or for
Mhm.
tokens or whatever. And I certainly don't think like the making money off of it has to be the main focus, but that has seemed to be that, and other bots talking to each other has seemed to be the two main like themes that I've seen either across my timeline or that people get excited about in group chats or like other Farcaster apps.
Yeah. Is that surprising to you?
No.
I see that, and then I see the backlash against for the people who get annoyed at the people who are just trying to make money. So it's the
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I think one thing I
I
keep asking myself though is like what's the meta gonna evolve into with these bots, and what are the bots that people are gonna start making that are added into their workflows? Like I guess Bounty Bot is actually one of the better examples in that it actually is serving this more concrete value, and that if in your day or whenever you want to set a bounty, you go and use the Bounty Bot. someone going to make a bot where the bot's returning something and it's like opening up a mini app, for example, or is it doing something in another app for me? Like I'm kind of just curious what a direction it's taken in, because it doesn't excite me too much to want to sit back and make another bot that can just create a token or buy an NFT, although that's definitely cool.
Yeah. Have you built bots? Farcaster bots?
Um, not a well, I've built like non-AI Farcaster bots. Actually, one that I built recently was with Icebreaker. I can show off because this is open source. So let's find the cast from Dan really quickly, and then I can show you. Yeah, so basically, Icebreaker has this rec bot at rec, and with a certain set of whitelisted skills, essentially, you can do something like Dan from Icebreaker did here in the cast, where he does at rec the name of the Farcaster user that he wants to like give a recommendation or attestation to, and then the skill that he wants to give them. And then in the background, the cast itself is being treated as an attestation, not like an EAS attestation. And then it's being queued for on-chain stamping with witness. So on-chain, you can like verify this uh, cast attestation. That's one of the bots I've built, and I think it's like a particularly cool use case. And then if anyone wants to take a look at it, all the code is here, open source. I can put this in the show notes.
Very cool.
But it's not an AI. Maybe it's an AI
Right.
current, right? You get this human skill that AI doesn't have. But
Yeah. Well, listen, the bot is like the Farcaster bot is just kind of how you interact, right? That's the interface. So it's in feed and can be, I guess, conversational, but and then the AI on the background is just kind of, it seems like if you wanted to add AI in the future, you can, but it's just separate, right? AI is just at the, what you're doing with it.
yeah, it could be. I think I also wonder, is anyone going to make a completely different app that just has AI fully built into it? Maybe that looks like you have a chat, like a, ChatGPT perplexity like chat that can ask Farcaster stuff. Maybe it's going as far as AI is just understanding what you want to do, and then it's taking the command, like in your wallet, for example. Instead of the majority of it being interface driven, you have some sort of chat or place to input text, or with voice just be able to like say or add some background process of, you know when Moxie hits a certain price, buy or sell it, or go and like every time there's a new GM Farcaster NFT on Zora, mint it for me, or something like that. Maybe not for
Yeah.
every example, but I wonder if people are, I want to see like new directions this can be taken in, because especially with AI, that's where things can get really different, and different can, lead to good stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. Cool. So excited to continue that meta. I think if anything, even though some of the bots have been more similar, like it's still very exciting. And also all the new bots, like I don't mean similar in a bad way. Like every new bot is introducing new opportunities or showing some sort of new viral moment that's getting people more excited or making people want to build more. So I think that's
Mhm.
all very like net positive.
Yeah. Does Clanker have, I guess Clanker must have some AI in it because it's pretty conversational as well.
Yeah, I
Like
think
it,
Clanker is AI. I think they like all connects to Claude or OpenAI
mhm.
or one of those tools.
um, because it's like, but it still kind of has the one purpose of deploying a token,
Oh
right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll have to maybe if the proxy wants to join at some point. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, shout out Proxy's coming on GM Farcaster tomorrow morning, so we'll
Oh, okay,
get to chat with
nice,
him.
nice. That'll be cool. I'll definitely listen in.
Um,
Cool. So the next cast here is last week we had another Farcaster developer call that we get to go over a little bit more. One of the great and exciting things about this show as well is getting to dive more into some of this stuff. This one was a little bit of a shorter dev call, but some really cool stuff. And actually, one thing in particular that I didn't really see coming. So I'll just fully pop up the agenda so that I can show this here. The thing I didn't see coming, and is smart. And I had actually been like, this has been on my mind from after the dev day in LA. And I was even thinking for a while it would be really cool, either as a tool I build or for someone to build into their app, if channels could have some sort of fund or smart contract where the moderators of the channel could add money into the fund, or followers could add money into the fund, and then you create some unique invite link where the money from that fund is used to create like an invite directly into the channel. I think this, I don't know how they're actually like creating the invite. I'll assume for now this is just using your works, but I think this is a really, really smart idea where let's say you're at DevCon, for example, you meet someone super interesting. Maybe they're not as much into crypto, maybe they're just not into Farcaster at all, but you want them to be in your particular network. You don't want them to just be lost in the void in the abyss of Farcaster. That you can invite them into particular channels, or maybe in the future you're inviting them just to one channel and there's a little more you can do to make them feel like they're a part of that community. But the end goal here is you get some sort of QR code or single use invite code where the user has an account and they're directly teleported into the world of that channel, which is, I think, like a really smart way to yeah, get people into that community.
Yeah, Dan's been teasing that, like kind of the idea of onboarding directly into a channel. It makes a lot of sense, I think.
Yeah, it's a really
And
slick, like more web two claiming invite as well, which I like. So yeah, this is cool. This got me really excited. I wasn't expecting for it to happen this quickly. I feel like sometimes you expect that the dev call like priorities or progress is just kind of rolling off of what happened the last week or the last call, but then sometimes if something new like this, which you didn't fully anticipate, gets thrown your way. And yeah, this is just very cool for me to see, because this is something I've been thinking about for a bit, and I'm sure that when this rolls out, there are going to be a lot of people, especially community builders, people going to in real life events, who are gonna take really good use of this, like Farcaster Fridays, like any sort of meetups in particular. I think are like a really, really great use case for this. Feeds as well. So the way they've been structuring these dev calls, which I like, is it's listing the top priorities from Farcaster and then kind of going up or down the list from the top priorities down, and showing the progress. So it's great because, as I was saying, you get the linear progress, but also it's a very clear snapshot of, even if you're not focused on what happened on the last calls, you can just look at this document and say, hey, like this is what Merkle or Warpcast is focused on. And as a developer, that sort of transparency is very cool. Feeds, they're continuing to run A/B tests. I don't think there was anything crazy, although I do wonder as well. Like sometimes this is just like a little developer thing. Like if you see on the feed here, Dan is saying, where is he saying it? If you're at DevCon, reply to this cast. And sure, part of it is like, oh, okay, it's great because the people who are going to DevCon can just look at this cast and see all the other people who are going. I do think in my mind this could be some like feed A/B stuff where they can use the data from certain casts like this to analyze and then better train the feed. Like in the past, definitely this summer, I think Dan was like doing some of these related casts where he's like, if you're interested in XYZ, reply to this cast. So I wonder inadvertently if any of that's happening, but either way, if I'm not overreading it, or if I am overreading it, like just look at the cast and go find your friend at DevCon and touch grass and don't
right,
listen to me.
you're suspicious about Dan's motives.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a bad motive. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of just curious. Um,
Well, I noticed
but
last week Dan casted GM, and I'm like, oh, he used to do that every now and then because
mm,
he used to have to do conversational liquidity, and he would do engagement farming. He was not above that. But then a day later, they added pin casts, and he pinned
yeah,
that cast, and I was like, oh, that's why.
everything's got a
Maybe he did.
reason, or sometimes we like to think so, at least.
Exactly.
All right, well, back to the list. So nothing crazy with feeds, although maybe my super crazy suspicion there is somewhat true, and who knows what that contributes to. For
So, Dylan,
transactions, sorry.
question for you, because I guess you must be going to all the dev calls. They do these, are they every 2 weeks since the beginning of time?
Yeah, so it's every other Thursday. So the next one will be next Thursday at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific. And I can share the links, but it's pretty easy to access.
And I guess what I'm curious is, and it sounds like what Merkle does is just kind of transparently, this is what the priorities are and working. Do they split up like this is protocol work versus this is Warpcast work? Because something like a feeds, A/B test on feeds feels very specific to Warpcast. Curious, do developers in the ecosystem care about things like that? Are they including this in the call because they just want to be transparent in terms of what they're working on? And I'm curious what like protocol developers or just like developers in the ecosystem, what your guys's like stance is on A/B testing for feeds.
Sure.
Like, do you
So I mean,
care?
I mean, somewhat. I think for me, it's more so like interesting to see what they're doing, and sometimes it matters more than not. Or maybe like, let's say you're building a client and they're focusing on a problem you're also trying to solve. You might like pay more attention to that, or reach out to them and say, "Hey, you're A/B testing your feed. I'm A/B testing my feed as well." Um, it's also the way I view it is there may be some folks who aren't they're not developers or they're not looking to get on the call and then go and build an app, but this is their portal to hear what is going on under the hood at Merkle. And so let's say that you're like a community builder and you're saying, oh, well, there's an issue with my feed or whatever. And then this kind of update is like the public way for you to see any sort, like this or Dan's casts really are the two only ways, because like the Warpcast code and everything is closed source, which is obviously fine. But they're not necessarily, so yeah, they're not breaking it down into like Warpcast versus Farcaster. I feel like per topic, the people on the call can get, oh, like if there's a channel invite, like if they're showing a channel invite screen, that's Warpcast. However, like when they show a screen like this, obviously there's so many people in the Zoom chat who are like, when's this getting decentralized? Like when can other clients use this? All those
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a
So
good point, right? So these developer calls are open to everyone. So it's just a way, if you're interested in learning about what Merkel's focused on and what priorities are, people join to
yeah.
hear.
And yeah, and then I think some of it, like maybe the feeds they wouldn't have included in the past, but now they're doing a better job of like all the since the dev day, all the calls are structured by their priorities. Like normally every week they would just like make a new list or fork
Mhm.
last week's and add on to it. But now it's like structured by priorities. So I think with feeds as well, maybe this is their way of saying like, we're leaving this up there as the progress update and to keep it in like the ranked lists of growth for channels, feeds, and transactions are still the number one priority. But there's just like not a big update, but we're just leaving it up there, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah. But yeah, there wasn't anything crazy there, or for transactions as well. I think they were just continuing to finish like the app frame spec, which they did finish, and that's another, or actually that's related, so we can just show that now. So the app frames would be, here we go. Great. And if you are building an app frame, you should reach out to Tony at Deodad on Farcaster, who has been working on this spec with others. But if you don't know what an app frame is or haven't seen some of the specs, it's kind of the evolution of where frames and mini apps have been going, so that there are better performance. So the app frame, like the actual frame itself, or sorry, the actual mini app itself, like the iframe experience, data is coming back from it on the first load of the frame, so that when you open that iframe or app, whatever, it's a lot faster. You have a lot more APIs you can use so that the app can go and do something in Warpcast. So, for example, an app it can open an external URL in a web browser. It can open a Farcaster URL, so a cast, a profile, a channel. It can open the cast composer. It can prompt a user to join or invite someone to a channel. It can close the app frame. It can hide the splash screen, and now it can trigger a transaction fully with like the WAGMI VM instance under the hood. So you just get the user's connected wallet. So a lot of good surface area already to do stuff. And I think the idea here is that you see a frame, it opens up the app, the whole experience there is faster, richer, And then when you get back, the frame has some sort of local state or variable so that the button can be updated to reflect that you've actually interacted with the frame. So, like an example here, I guess this is the main screenshot they have, but the example here would be, you click yoink, you play the yoink game, you can even have a transaction pop up, or like invite someone to a club, but then afterwards when it's done, which they're not showing in this mock-up, when the whole thing's done and the app closes, the yoink button here should like change to say like you've yoinked or whatever, or if it's an events.xyz thing, it should change to say like you're successfully on the list or whatever it is. So kind of trying to bring all this tech together. I'm curious where it all goes, but I do get like why they're trying to bring it all together, and I think there are a lot of neat things going on under the hood to power this.
Does app frames does this replace mini apps? Like, is this just like building on what we know of as mini apps, or is it something different?
So it's like they're keeping frames as they are, and then
Hmm.
if I understand it, they're trying to bundle what frames and mini apps are into this new app frame, which gives both what we would call frames and mini apps like more of a leg up.
Got it. And allows kind of, it's like you can go from frame to mini app or app and back, and there's some communication
Yeah.
between the two.
Well, that part you can already do. Like you can click a frame and open the mini app, and it's like
Hmm.
continuing to do that, but the experience is faster because when you like for Flappy Cast, for example, let's say you open the button and then it opens the mini app. When you're opening the mini app, that's like a browser tab, so it has to go and get the website. But they're saying like the frame itself would come with all the web data already downloaded for the mini app, so that when you open it, there's no wait time and it's a
Yeah,
lot faster. And then there's
got
like a
it.
couple more APIs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did hear just Dan talking about frames. Like one of the biggest problems is they're too slow, and
Yes.
kind of and
Yeah.
can't be really made much faster. So there's certain
Yeah.
constraints. Um, so I guess I'm happy to hear them trying to tackle that problem.
Yeah. Me too. I think one of the interesting things though is, at first frames were this thing that you just built really quickly and then get distribution for in the feed. And so even though there weren't always these retentive actions, you could have a lot of actions be taken really quickly if the thing you're building goes viral. What I'm trying to see with this new spec is that they're pushing it towards a world where there's more interactivity, right? You have this frame, the frame has to open the mini app does something expansive that takes use of the APIs, and then it's like closed and brings you back to the frame. That's like the holistic model that they want to go for. And I just think there are like less experiences that fall into that bucket, and it takes a little bit more work to build for that. And maybe I'm wrong, and there's going to be even more. But I think with frames being something that was a little bit smaller in terms of the spec and easier to embed because you're just focusing on the frame and the feed, there was a lot more quick ephemeral stuff that could happen. Versus here, you're banking on the fact that there's going to be this breadth of more well done utility based app frames, which totally can happen. But I think there just needs to be a lot of them and like built really well. And you have
Yeah,
less of a chance for the more like mid curve products to flourish, if that makes sense.
I'll take your word for it.
Or we'll see. I just
Yeah,
it seems like there's more work that has to be put into it.
yeah. And I guess though, I do like the vision of having rich, like interactive apps without leaving a feed that anyone can build. And I imagine for the developers like it because they're getting distribution, like without for something they're building. Um, but I don't, um, look, Dill, it's a developer podcast. I'm not a developer. I don't know what else to to offer.
Hey, we're all developers on this podcast, Adrian.
Are we?
We're going through it all. We're here. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think that's my intuition, but I want to see people continuing to build on it, and I think also I might be wrong, and there might be people who build something that's more so focused on the frame side, and they say, hey, we'll take advantage of the new tech, but I don't care as much about building the entire app. And then the people who do build the app are going to build like a really solid experience for it. So, but yeah, that's the
Oh, let's
main
go.
overview. Yeah, that's the main overview of app frames. I can quickly run through the rest of the dev call. It wasn't a crazy amount, but those were kind of the main things. For direct cast, there is a beta of group APIs that you can access. The group APIs, they let you create a group, update a group. It's a lot more permissive. It is not fully at the state, obviously, where you can make an entire like direct cast client where you're pulling in all the messages, etc. But there is a lot more of getting conversations, creating conversations. It's I haven't gone through the whole thing, but it seems much more permissive. And if you are looking to build on this, you should reach out to Gabriel on the Warpcast team, who I know has been leading this. And
And these
then,
are for direct cast because direct cast are not part of the protocol yet. So these are Merkle APIs or Warpcast
sorry,
APIs.
yes, these are
Okay.
Warpcast APIs. Um,
Cool.
for reducing sign-up costs, there wasn't anything crazy. Continued talk of they want to lower it within the next month or so, but wasn't really gone over too much. For hubs, the two main updates were that they shipped the location and X account verifications to hubs, and then they are doing more kind of modeling with Snapchain and hoping to have more of a proof of concept in the next couple of weeks. But it doesn't seem like the proof of concept is the snap chain is going to be fully deployed, just more so here's like the code more built out. And then sign up with Farcaster at the bottom, they didn't go over. I assume that it just wasn't really their focus this week. But the focus is, yeah, we're really channels, the invite stuff, and then app frames were the two main ones from this week. And then I'd thought maybe that they would have brought up AI bots to some capacity, but now that I'm looking back at it, I mean, what would they have said? Like AI bots are cool, you know?
Yeah,
Like I
they're
get it.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Dev call's good. If you want to join again, it is every other Thursday, so it won't happen this Thursday, but next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern. But
What's
the
the vibe of the dev call? And are people chatty? Is it interactive? Who's doing the talking? Give us the
the
give us the tea on the dev call.
Yeah, sure. The vibe of the dev call is it's normally like Dan or Varun lead. Like normally Varun leads, and then Dan will jump in for different things, mostly more like the Warpcast or product perspective stuff. And then certain team members will be tagged in for particular products they're working on, like Gabriel for direct cast, Tony for app frames, Sanjay for Snap Chain, different stuff like that as it comes up. um 99% of people have their cameras off. I try not have my camera off. Everyone's just listening, or they have their like AI note-taking bots there with them. And
Oh, that's
then
funny.
normally there's a slew of questions that will come in that will be, answered at breaks between the different sections, or sometimes
Mhm.
people like, drop little memes, but it's more so just like Farcaster lore, like, oh, like when decentralization, or I don't know, like just like people trying to come up with witty memes on the spot in Google
Mhm.
comments, and then Dan like reading them out and everything. But nothing crazy. And recently they've been pretty efficient. Like the last dev call was, they earmarked 45 minutes. The last one was maybe half an hour though. But they're obviously not trying to just speed run through it for the sake of it. I think it's just leaving out the fluff, and then if people have more questions, people will answer. And I think Varun wasn't at the last one because he was out on vacation or something like that. But normally Varun will also have very like deep technical questions if people bring up certain topics that they want to go into. But the majority of the topics are just through chat, and people aren't always like raising their hand or using the mic to ask a question.
Good. Yeah. Very cool.
And I think they're all on YouTube as well if you want to record. So there's a good
Ah,
little thing there too. If you want to like download all the transcripts and do something with it, you could have like a dev day dev call bot or something like that.
Do you know that I'm actually building a little that I said I wasn't a developer, but I'm trying to do a little
Oh, yes.
developer project and I'm trying
I
to
saw this.
yes. Oh, what are you gonna so I want to build a bot, a Farcaster bot that is trained on GM Farcaster content to help new people or old people, just anyone who wants to talk. Are you
Oh
trying to
no,
find
where'd
what
it go? Yeah, where'd it go?
I don't know. It's probably you have to go deep into. I cast too much,
No,
Dylan.
got lost in the
It's like,
abyss.
yeah, I can probably find it.
Find it.
Go back to. I'll pull it up. But
It's not like downloading YouTube though,
listen,
right?
we
There's like a
have. Oh yeah, we have like hours upon hours of Farcaster lore and Farcaster news, and wouldn't it be cool to have a way to query it? Like, and so I want to train an AI to learn all of our GM Farcaster content that people can interact with.
nice.
Um,
Very cool. Oh, Dylan, you'll never find
and
it. Now, as Prof says, that's why we need the AI to help us find it.
we 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 need AI for everything.
Exactly. Like, you know what I was thinking last night? Was you know how Chat GPT has the new voice mode?
Yes.
And then because I've been using it to like brainstorm, like I'll have conversations with it. And then there's obviously Notebook LM, which can do the podcast thing. I feel like if you were able to feed it context, someone could make a really cool podcast guest or podcast co-host tool where it inserts the AI like on your call or on your video call and it has the context and it's just you know what I mean?
Y- No, I
Keys
don't.
into the
No, because I
comp
was. I was.
like
No, I wasn't listening. I was finding my cast for you.
uh, like you
Sorry.
have a
Are you
like
talking?
you have like a like with the real-time new AI assistants that you can use like the voice
Yeah.
assistant you can have like a notebook LM style podcast host but in real time like listening to your convo and butting in when you wanted to.
I already have enough voices in my head
Yeah, too many.
going at all times. I don't want another one. All right, I just sent you the if you I sent you the link if you want to pull up I found my cast. Do you see it
Oh, where'd you
in our private chat and can you see in the
yeah, here we go. Here we go. There's so much going on this interface. Yes.
that's what it is. Yes.
Nice. Nice. So what's the next step? You're downloading the transcripts. What do you
So
have
I
next to
felt
do?
yes, I felt like to train an AI I needed access to transcripts. I thought there should be by now. I could just point to a YouTube channel and be like, "Hey AI, go learn everything." And then but I don't know if that's doable. So, I used the um I guess the YouTube data API and pointed it to our channel and downloaded all of the transcripts. But then I found out that I realized the transcripts are not high quality enough. So it doesn't tell you who's talking. It's just the word. So you can't really tell the difference between our guests or this. Um, so I'm going to take a step back, use a different tool to get better quality transcripts because I think it feels like um, the work to be done. So from talking to devs, the work that to be done probably shouldn't be so hard. It's actually kind of like the in creating the context
Mm.
and um, doing the kind of pulling in all the metadata and ranking. Like I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of schlep involved in a little bit of training.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I could see the like host name thing being important, like who's speaking right now.
So we'll see. So this is my little side project, and we'll see how far I can go.
That'd be cool. I think that shows how early, you know, because people think, oh, AI is so advanced that it's already taking everything over, et cetera, et cetera. But it's so early that the thing you were just talking about doesn't exist. Like, hey, just go give me all the data on this YouTube channel and return it in like a simple AI ingestible format or whatever.
Yeah, and my I use ChatGPT and it's literally magic. And then I see Aethernet and Martin said he built that in like a day and that feels like magic. Like they seem like intelligent. And then when I trained it on like GM Farcaster, it was like the dumbest AI ever. It's like you can't answer a single question. And when I was talking to someone yesterday, he just said, like, look, like ChatGPT, like, yeah, that took how many engineers training it over a decade? Like it's not. And so from a GM Farcaster, it was like, no, you need to like really start by ranking, telling the model what's important, like feeding it context, like and kind of giving it. So we'll see. I'll try to work in public and share some things. I know the guy I know it was a David Senra who does Founders podcast. I think he did this for
Oh, nice.
founders for his Founders podcast in terms of like training on all the data. So it
That's
can be
cool.
done.
Nice. Well, yeah, definitely keep us in the loop. This is a cool project, so fun to follow along. And if it goes well, maybe I'll start getting the transcripts from these, even though it's only three so far. But
Yeah.
add whatever data we can to the collection. Nice. Um, yeah. So with Clanker as well, this was another cast to highlight that Clanker can just create tokens. It seems like on wow.xyz as well. So wow, Clanker is really just expanding how much it can do. Again, it seems like all this is in the create a token, do something for me on chain realm, but it's all moving really quickly, evolving. Like I think wow.xyz just launched last week. So for Clanker to launch, wow to launch, and then Clanker to use wow all within a week is very, very fast paced for crypto.
Yes. And I imagine though this has something to do with something Legos open source. Maybe not. I
Yeah.
guess probably WoW's not open source.
Decentralization.
Decentralization should be,
Well, they're
put the pieces
tokens, right?
together. But
For a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all coming together, all the Lego blocks. We have a whole online Lego store to choose from.
Yep. And not
Speaking
financial
of,
advice. Not financial advice. Do your own resource. Do your own research, and always ask yourself the question: where's the value in this token coming from, and what will the token do? The answer.
yes, totally. We were talking pure builder Legos, not
Yes.
financial Legos. Do your own
We're the
research.
devs.
Totally. But speaking about the developer Legos, Dan quoted this, and I think this is a great use case of Airstack. Moxie has done a great job of the over the past couple months, but even over the past couple of weeks, making use case of all of these different Farcaster Legos. So here, for example, they have the Moxie frame, right, which can open the mini app to do stuff. But then I guess here is what as well. Sorry, they have a personalized feed of offers to users that they can target through, I believe it is here, a cast action that opens their frame, and then the user clicks, let's see, clicks earn, and then gets this app promoted directly to them. So going back to what you were saying earlier, Adrian, of just being able to access a mini app, this is really slick of, hey, I'm in the context, I want to learn about this thing. I'm popped right into the experience, very minimal nav. I think that was really just 2 clicks to get to that. And then afterwards, you can take that action, go share it out with your friends or not. So fun to see all these Legos coming together, and also great to see developers acknowledging what Legos are available and trying to make the best use of it, not just for themselves, but also for the ecosystem. It's a great example for other people. It shows Warpcast and others that people actually care about these Legos that are being built. So that's like a really great thing you can do as a developer if you care about Legos and an ecosystem to build on it, support it, and really like try and get the most out of what is already there.
Yeah, very cool. I
Yeah,
saw, I don't know if you're very active in the Moxie community or.
I'm not as much. I'm more of a
Mhm.
lurker.
Okay. I was hesitant to say, I was like, what do I call it? I'm saying community on purpose because you don't really need to, like, everyone can participate in Moxie by doing nothing. Like, you don't have to, I think, right? Or no, Fanta?
Okay.
I actually don't know, but I saw Moxie Earn launch, and I was like, "Oh, that seems like a new thing," and it looked really cool, and I need to do some research so I can tell people what it is on GM Farcaster, but I hadn't
Mm,
actually done that yet.
got it. Got it. Yeah. No, I mean, I think I think they do a good job at ecosystem building. They make good use of those tools. They seem to be connected to their fans. I know, especially when Moxie first came out, there was a little bit of confusion from folks, and I'm sure some folks still have their own confusion, but it seems to me like they're doing a lot. They have a lot of community calls, a lot of different initiatives and programs, things built on top of Moxie. Jason always shows a extension of this, like a Moxie Chrome extension that you overlay on Warpcast and web with all these different features. So there is a whole ecosystem there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool there. Another one, hey, if you are a developer and you want to build an open source Farcaster client for AI 16Z, there is a bounty. Maybe it'll even open on Bountycaster at some point, but for now, it is just here on X. I think the only way to see it is if you just go to the AI16z.github page. It's really just here in this text. I don't even know if there's anything on how you get in touch with them. This is all the public info I could find. But hey, if you want $1,000 USD in their token and in DGen AI, you have some free time and this interests you, go check this out.
Do you know what AI16Z is?
I just know that it's some sort of AI bot and they have like Mark AI Andreessen, but
It's
I
like
don't know
meant to
more
be
than
like
that.
an AI VC, I think. Like, or it's like, oh, it's some sort. And I just did some very brief, like, oh, it's AI. It was like kind of created by AI, but it's a DAO and you can buy in and then the DAO can vote on what to fund or something.
Yeah, I mean, it
I
seems like Farcaster has its own bot meta, and then Twitter has its own bot meta that's like even larger and has all these sub niches and stuff. But
much
other than
larger,
like
but
the
not
name,
better.
yeah, sure. Other than the name though, I don't really
Yeah.
know. Farcaster is the real culture for sure, but I don't know much about this other than the name, to be quite honest.
All
I
right.
just saw it and I was like, oh, of course people are
I
doing that.
yeah. And by the way, I feel like the bounties, it's like 1,000 USDC for, it said like what was it? A Farcaster equivalent, like a Farcaster client that's like a Twitter equivalent.
Yeah, they may have to up the bounty. That's
Parody with
quite.
Twitter client, but on Farcaster for 1,000 USD. It's like, if it was that easy, wouldn't we have a lot more? Or
Yeah, if you could pay 1,000 USD for a parody Twitter client on Farcaster, I think we'd have like 200 clients right now,
yeah.
and they'd all
And
be the
so I don't
same
know what parody
speed. And
means.
yeah, I guess they mean like well, what they really what parody means in scoping is like it should have every feature, you know. But
Yeah, but it won't be performant.
yeah,
And there's already open source clients that are Twitter
yes,
parody. So I guess if someone wanted to, they could do this bounty pretty easily.
yeah.
And I didn't know you were going to bring this up, Dale, but I can't let this opportunity go by saying how unhappy I am with this freaking mascot that they chose.
Yes, I know. I
I'm
know.
well, okay, and now just I don't need to go into it, but I had to just at least state my displeasure.
They should
Wow.
have just had AI 16Z carved into one of the pumpkins and just had a
Yep.
pumpkin patch or something, right?
But I don't know. But
Yeah,
they
many different options.
could have done it. All right.
I know. We'll have to see if this was an on-chain voting decision or if the AI did this.
And yeah. And if anyone's listening to the recording and not seeing images, it's just a hypersexualized graphic of a girl that seems with a I16Z over very big boobs, and it's making me unhappy because
Yeah,
it's not necessary. All right, carry on.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you for
Carry
bringing
on
that
back to
up.
the dev news. Sorry to
Back
interrupt
to the
you
dev
with
news.
my opinions.
Hey, no, all good.
But I know, but my
Another,
opinions are shared by many, and you can disagree with
yes.
me.
No,
That
very,
makes
very
the
valid.
world. I'm not saying you, but others can disagree, and that's fine.
Yes, yes. But back to dev news, and if you want to, check that bounty out, I guess check it out. You can check it out on the website without the image if you'd like to. Um, but back to developer news. We got a cool update here from Woj that it seems like he's going to be focused on a mobile version of Supercast. and even has a mobile developer that he is working on. Let me find that as well. The developer here, proud to welcome natedev.eth to the team who will be the main chef behind the app. I've seen a bunch of his work on Twitter and Farcaster. Seems like a great developer, great find from Woj. This is going to be cool to see. Obviously, you want to see more clients, but the one thing we also don't see as much of is mobile clients. So I'm excited here, right? With mobile, there are a lot of these extra edge cases you have to think about, extra design, but also majority of the eyeballs are spent on mobile. So hopefully the more mobile clients there are, the more opportunities there can be for these other clients to continue to grow in traction. But yeah, this is gonna be exciting. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah. Do you use Supercast?
I do use Supercast a good bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
me
it.
too. Um, on desktop and
Yes.
for um, it's good. I'm happy to see Woj able to grow into mobile.
Yeah, yeah. Although if you haven't seen as well, their mobile PWA, which is out right now, is pretty good too. Like if
Haven't
you
even didn't even know we had one.
oh. Yeah, that's maybe one of the more hidden features, but if you just do like the add to home screen feed, it all like renders on mobile and it looks and feels pretty nice and you can, use the connect wallet stuff and I use it because I can just connect to like Rainbow on my phone. It's pretty good. People like to
Well,
say negative things on PWAs and I get all the reasonings and everything, but honestly, PWAs work for what they need to sometimes. Maybe not the full Android vision of it's this
yeah,
deep app on your phone, but
yeah. I'm not a fan, but I understand the also speed to development and kind of for proof of concepts and prototypes and I don't know then. But
sure.
Dylan, do you know React?
I do know
React Native?
React. Yes, yeah. Those are what
What are
I
you
spend
doing?
most of my time in, those two, yeah.
All
More
right.
more so React, but yeah. So yeah, shout out to Woj. Excited to see this coming to iOS and Android. So get your phones ready. And speaking of another client, we have also a great update here from uh, Hale Hal. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but Hale creates Recaster, a client I actually use a lot as well because Recaster is a fully native mobile client. And as much as I love, well, Recaster has a lot of great features, but one of the things I use it more so for is a quick load. When I use Warpcast, I don't know if you run in this, Adrian, but there are some times where I use Warpcast and I'm stuck at the big loading W for not even just 45 seconds, but sometimes up to like 3 minutes, which isn't the best for an app. And it seems like there's like a whole set of data they're trying to save that's like getting in the way of it. But Recaster just opens immediately like a normal app. And even if I have to wait an extra second or two for the data to load, it's good to get that at a snapshot. Plus, a lot of fun mobile features like a little mini app center. And now web development here where you can go and see the feed for any user, which is like a good little work in progress if you want to see the work that is being done on the web version of this. So you can go and see here like a user's feed. Let's see Adrian's feed. Oh no,
What?
why did it not work?
Why are
Do you
you
have Adrian?
canceling me?
What? Do you have?
Oh, I'm not
It's just
Adrian.eth, unfortunately. I would like
there
to
we
own
go.
I would love to own Adrian.eth if someone out there wants to help me get that.
Yes, if you're listening, but yeah, this is fun.
If
I think it's just read only for now, but you can tell that there's work going in here. There's also work for the web version of the Butterfly client, so
Oh,
nice to
this
see
is
these.
so when you click my name, this is showing you what I see on my feed.
Yes, yeah,
Oh, I've wanted this for so long in other socials. Like I wanted this in Twitter. I was like, I want to know what other people are seeing. Like what they're
yeah.
how do they do this when the Warpcast algorithm is not open source? How do they know what I'm seeing?
Well, they're basically making some sort of algorithm that checks like your followers and stuff.
Ah,
And then also certain like Nanar, for example, has a for you.
Oh,
Let's see if I can show it.
okay.
They have like a for you where I can like get the feed for a particular user. So here, if I go under like feed for you, and then like what's your FID?
Oh, 5818.
Nice. So then I would put in the FID of the user.
Everybody memorizes their FID, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like a lucky number. But yeah, you can just put in your FID and then you can make a feed for that particular user. So like this would be the feed of
Cool.
Cast for you, and then you can use a different provider, etc. But this is cool. It's fun to see people continuing to do good work on clients. Making clients work great. Yeah, this is Recaster has been very consistent with their updates. It's been a client I've been using a bit, so this is fun to see.
Very cool. Is Recaster paid?
It is not paid.
Oh my goodness. I got to use it then. I can't
Yes,
pay for
so
every client, but
so you should definitely
yeah, go
go check out
download Recaster.
Recaster and
Um,
recaster.org, and shout out Hale, who has been making some great updates on this client.
I will check that out. By the way, Dylan, when you talked about Warpcast having like kind of a slow load because it's doing something, fun fact, when I'm out and about sometimes and my phone's acting weird and I want to know if I have service or not, like I open up Warpcast because every other app has some caching. Like I can go to Twitter with no cell phone service, it'll still show me tweets, but Warpcast won't. So I used to use Warpcast as a way to know whether or not I had any connection on my phone.
Nice. You'd be like route like ismyconnectiondown.com to
Yes, you just go to
Warpcast.
Warpcast, and if Warpcast won't load, then your connection is down. Um,
Nice. So
anyway,
yes, the crypto said I hesitate greatly in giving up full control of my Farcaster account to a product that isn't paid. Great hesitation. Again, I think like the account security thing is still early on, and people
mm,
people are trying to figure out. I totally get what you're saying there. Of like, if it's a product you're paying for, then you trust that more. Um, I personally think there's like a little more that goes into it as well. Like, for example, in the case of Recaster, I know that Hayol is building a lot. I've seen him on the dev calls, see the updates, and with that sort of builder, creating the app key or the signer for that app is kind of like the world that we're entered, where we've like that's the thing that you do. Maybe in the future, there's even another set of permissioning where instead of a full signer, you're like delegating mini signer permissions, or this app can only interact with frames. This app can only cast for me. But I do get the paid thing. I don't think there is a perfect answer towards like what Farcaster permissioning looks like. I think for now it definitely is some sort of sense of what does that trust look like to you, and then also do people or in your network use that app, and does that give you an extra level of comfort, I guess, in using the tool. But I would personally
yeah,
recommend using Recaster.
I didn't even think about that because I don't associate like you can't buy trust or you can't sell
Yeah,
trust. It has to be earned over time. And I just know, yeah, kind of my proxies for trust is Haol, Howell. Someone tell us how to pronounce your name. Haoli, Haol. Um, I know has been a builder in the ecosystem, and I kind of like, oh, other people I trust and respect trust him, so therefore I do. It's a little bit of proxy, but it takes time, and I think honestly, I guess I hesitate giving up full control of my Farcaster account. Period.
yeah,
Um, I get really happy when I do sign in with Farcaster and it says, this app will not be able to do anything on your. It just like it has your name and you're verifying you own the account. Like, okay, I'd like that makes me feel good.
yeah,
There was a time when
yeah.
it was like, and it can do everything. But I also want there to be, over time, lots of different clients and options. But it'll take some time.
Totally, totally. Cool. All right. Well, we only have a couple more because I know we're wrapping in a minute or so, but I think these are kind of good ones to end on. So here for DGen, I'm not going to pretend like I know the entire in and out of this story. my like ChatGPT overview here would be, it seems like Jastic is trying to move away from degen. They're not super happy with, sorry, move away from degen L3, which is hosted by Conduit. Seems like they have not been super happy with the service that Conduit has been providing. Just to show you the recap, in their words, degen L3 was processing 200K in bridge volume. Conduit pushed a bad upgrade, which led to downtime and over 160 grand in lost user funds. Bridge volume dropped by over 75% the next month. And there was this back and forth where they again claim that Conduit refused to take ownership, request fees, and this whole back and forth where it seems like they've been trying to move off the system and maybe Conduit has been making it hard or they need to sign a draft or something. I will say as well that it says it looks like they heard back from Conduit, and Conduit, had a bunch of replies where they said, "Oh, we signed this contract." So I don't know the entire story. It seems like some people have their minds made up, or they have the different sides that they're stealing with. Um, all I'll say is like, look, people operating in bad faith isn't great. I don't know the whole side, so I can't fully comment on what I was saying. But I think it aside, this is a good time for people to think about how much their community really does need something like an L3 or really in general any extra infrastructure. Like I know that sometimes Dan can get a lot of flack for keeping things centralized and not fully decentralizing it or having a broad API. But I know that from the Warpcast side, they're not doing it from this position of trying to create a moat. They're doing it from trying to make sure that when they do decentralize or make that leap, it's done in the best way because when you decentralize, you can't go back. When you make an L3, there is a possibility that this chain can like lose funds or have downtime or things like that. So broadly speaking, I would just say like whatever you're building in crypto, be really considerate about how much you need to take the next step in terms of infra and really maxing out what you can do with what you have around. I'm sure otherwise there's more lessons or like if we learn certain truths here, but again, I just like don't really know the whole story.
I also do not know the whole story and could make a few comments that will come from a completely unknowledgeable place, but I don't even really understand what L3s are. I think there are a lot of people who like, it's like, I think from a community perspective, it's like when you have a strong community wanting a place, right, that is yours and you have control and you can act. But I think this was less, I think it just goes to show kind of like when you're relying on other people, right? And this isn't decentralization. It's like other companies or teams that for infrastructure, then you become, when it's not decentralized, I think a little bit, you're giving up some control of, um, I don't know, just like that you create like a single point of failure. And if something fails and you're not able to back out of it, I actually don't know that much about it, but I appreciate Yasik's like transparency and commitment to DGen community. And I'm not active in the L3 and I'm not super active in DGen, but it seemed like there was a little bit of split but it seems like the community is standing behind him.
Yeah. I think like everything I've seen of Jastic is that he thinks about this stuff pretty well, is quite transparent about it. So I'm sure whatever the outcome is going to be fine. And it seemed to me that he was trying to be transparent through this process and not be too digging. I think this is obviously tough when you have to like mention another company by name like that. I'm sure it's not something he did in vain.
Right. Only, yeah. And hopefully they work it out. And hopefully, it's like if you come out of this, you're stronger for it.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure. And like, yeah. And I want them to both be strong. Like I've heard great things
yeah.
about Jastic and Degen. I've heard great, amazing things about Conduit as well. So I want them to both do well. Um, yeah. All right. The last two or three we have or so. So one which is super small is now mini app transactions are supported in Frog. I haven't tried it yet, but example, you've seen what the transaction looks like. I guess you can send and your wallet comes up. That's pretty nice. If you want to check it out, you should go see the docs here on frog.fm for mini apps.
Frog is
Second
a
one,
open source. Is
oh
Frog an open source library?
yeah, Frog is like
Is it?
frames.js.
Ah,
Yeah,
got it. All right.
yeah,
I've heard the term and I didn't know.
it was started by Paradigm and then Weavem, and Weavem is like WAGMI, VM. They do a bunch of like TypeScript, Ethereum stuff.
Hmm.
One of the last kind of like main developer focused ones I thought was exciting is these delegated actions from Privy, where now other apps can perform actions on your behalf, like within a particular rule set. So here, for example, this app can execute on-chain actions for you, but transactions are capped at $20. Back to what we were saying, like the example of mint every GM Farcaster podcast NFT that comes up on Zora. You can set a bunch of these actions, and Privy has for a while been thinking about how the embedded wallet in one app can be used by another app. I think that is going to give even more benefit, or it put even more prominence on the fact that apps have these embedded wallets. Whereas now it might feel like, oh, all these apps have these spreaded embedded wallets that aren't connected and I'm not really using them much. But if they can have these multifunctional purposes where it like makes sense to have blank wallets per se in different areas, I think that could be cool. So excited to see what developers do with this. I'll have to take more of a look at it as well. But this caught my eye when they launched it.
Very cool.
Nice. And then the
Love
last
Privy.
one isn't yes, love Privy. Not developer focus as much, but more so FOMO. This is where they're doing the big Farcaster event, it looks like, at DevCon. FOMOing already. But if you are there, I don't know when it's happening, today, yesterday, tomorrow, something like that. But but go to Lamone's page and make sure to be there. Oh, okay. It looks like it's tomorrow or soon. It's like tomorrow already in Bangkok. But yes. Oh, that is the main news from us here for this third episode of The Hub. Make sure to join us again next week at 10 a.m. Eastern for more developer news. Continue building. It's a great time to be on Farcaster. Great time to be in crypto. Adrian, do you have any other closing thoughts? But I really appreciate you being here with me today.
Thanks for letting me be your co-host. I hope you get developers with better credentials than I have in future episodes. But I'm loving the hub, Dylan. So thank you everyone for joining, and yeah, excited for episode 4 next week.
Awesome.
Right.
Yes. Maybe by then we'll even have some code to show off for your new project.
Cool.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
maybe.
Maybe. All
And
right.
yes, yay nerds. That's the best testimonial for this show.
Let's go. Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day coding away, checking Farcaster, and we'll see
Oh,
you again next.
wait,
Oh,
Dylan, I do have something that came up. I want
yes.
to ask
Yeah, yeah.
you right
Go for it. Go
now.
for it.
Yesterday, there was a big announcement that Farcon 2025 location maybe was just announced.
Mm,
In New York City, are you going to be planning FarHack?
dun, dun, dun. Nothing official revealed.
Okay.
Okay, all I'll say publicly is there will totally be a builder hackathon, something attached. What all of that looks like, what it is publicly going to be called, we're still figuring it out. But will it essentially be like a hackathon sort of thing attached to this? Totally 1,000%. I think we're just trying to, without giving too much up, like trying to make sure it fits in with what we're doing and trying to learn from the FarHack at FarCon to just like make sure that it's the best experience possible for everyone, for the developers, for the non-developers who want to be there, like for the presentations, but also not have it get in the way. But without saying too much more other than that, to disrupt the team that's working on this, yes, there will be developer hackathon stuff. So very excited. And
Great.
if you are interested in anything, go to Farconda NYC.
Because now that we have ChatGPT and I can be a wannabe developer, and I wrote code yesterday, now I think I'm a developer, so I can't wait for the FarHack.
Yes,
I
that's
want
going
in
to be
this year.
awesome. Yes, 100%. That's going to be exciting. We'll have to have like the hub behind the scenes video of everyone hacking or something there.
Totally.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you again, Adrian. Thanks everyone for listening in, and have a great rest of your Tuesday.